Everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today we got a brand new trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder. We of course recently got a teaser, which, as most teasers are, it's just to kind of set the little tone, try to get an idea of, what this feels like. Also, before I hit play, I'm already noticing this is the same shot we saw in the teaser, where Thor's sitting there meditating, and there's two individuals walking up the hill over here. You can see on the right. Anyways. Let's play the trailer, but I thought that was interesting to notice. All right, here we go.
Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man.
Called him a space Viking. Okay.
After saving planet Earth for the 500th time, Thor set off on a new journey. Well, he got in shape. He went from dad bod to god bod. And after all that, he reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
Jane?
Oh, what's with the helmet? Okay. Okay, so those are two different scenes. Interesting.
What's it been like? 3-4 years?
8 years, 7 months, and 6 days, give or take.
8 years.
Sensing feelings?
Well, you're right.
The only ones who gods care about
Oh, here he is.
is themselves.
Whoa.
So this is my vow.
All gods will die.
Interesting. Okay.
I just want to say that was very, very impressive what you did back there.
He's just my first bad guy.
You never
Man, he
forget
looks pretty freaky. Okay. Olympus. So it's like all the color is going away. Wherever this place is, it's like
Like the other gods of kill.
Because I have something worth fighting for.
wherever Gore was, it's like all the color
Let's see who you
is
are.
desaturated.
And take off your disguise. And flick.
Oh,
You flick too hard, damn it!
Should we help him?
Then eventually, grape.
Okay. Yeah, this is still a Taika Waititi movie. Okay. Wow. All right. Okay. So let's go through all that. Okay. Go ahead and mute it. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. So just like I mentioned, you can see these two figures on the right. That might be Jane and Valkyrie, maybe two humanoid figures. And Korg here, he's talking to this group of blue aliens. Okay, so well, it's probably this same alien right here, the same alien race. So even though he's like telling this story, like, oh, let me tell you a story about the Viking god, the Viking god Thor, it seems to be the exact same planet that he's at right here, the same species of alien. So I can only imagine that he's like telling this story as if it happened long ago, but it's like literally happening now, Okay, it's cool. So this is definitely like near the opening where he's still with the Guardians, and he looks like he saves everything relatively early on in the movie. He saves some big battle, and he's like, okay, doing my hero thing. And of course we've seen a lot of this, where he's getting in shape. That's pretty cool, actually. He's like, that's so, I imagine he's with the Guardians for this entire montage. Like the Milano is still there. Now, as for here's an interesting thing also, is that we definitely see that this is two different scenes. We kind of, there's some editing trickery happening. So what are these things that they're fighting? These tentacled creatures. It's still really hard to make out exactly what we're looking at. They're like insects or some kind of gooey symbiote type creatures. I don't know. Now, interesting thing, of course, is that, and again, we've seen Marvel do this several times. They do edit their trailers to kind of mess with us, right? Certain scenes may not happen in the exact same time, so maybe maybe in the actual movie Thor is wearing a different outfit here because, you know, he's reaching out for Mjolnir here, right? And then Jane grabs it, and it looks like this is all the same shot, right? Same bad guys in the background. But this, clearly he's wearing completely different outfit now. So the same bad guys are in the background, but he's wearing something completely different. He's got a mask on. He's, you know what I'm saying? So like, there's definitely some weird, you know, I think this shot here where they're showing us this mask on him, I think this is from some other part of the movie. You know, because like, what he just suddenly has completely different armor on and a mask. You know what I'm saying? So that makes no sense at all. So something's happening. Either this is what he's really wearing, or the other thing is what he's really wearing. Either way, they wanted us to see this here. Now I gotta say, I like the body armor, you know, like the gold and blue. That looks really cool. The helmet, I'm not super crazy about it, you know. Like I like the wing helmet when it's not covering his face, but I think because it almost looks too big. You know what I mean? It almost looks like the helmet is meant for someone with a slightly bigger head. You know, because it just, the way, like how far into the helmet his eyes are, it almost looks like this is an oversized helmet. So I don't know, not crazy about the helmet really, but the rest of the suit looks really good. I can't imagine he's going to be wearing, see again, maybe there's some trickery happening because now he's got this suit on again. So when does he switch from the all black one to this blue and gold one? That's, you know, some interesting stuff happening. Okay, so where is she at here? Interesting. We see these giant statues in the background. I think some people were saying that that might be another living, yeah, it does kind of look like another living tribunal floating head statue back there, which by the way, we've seen the living tribunal like what, 3 times now. You know, at least like statues of the living tribunal. So it's like, what are they waiting on? Just, you know, like I don't know what movie he's gonna show up in, but it feels like they keep on teasing it over and over again. But it's like, do it, just show him already. So that kind of looks like an in battle type thing. And also it's been, they say it's been 8 years now, so that's interesting. Okay, so obviously the blip happened. Neither of them, I guess we can assume maybe neither of them were dusted, if she also thinks it's been 8 years, or maybe she was and she's just counting that time anyways for her. I don't know. In any case, that's 5 years. And then I suppose 3 years passed between, you know, because we know by Ragnarok they've already broken up, right? Obviously that takes place right before Infinity War and all that stuff happened. So we have to imagine that happened like at least 2.5 years before Ragnarok. So I don't know. I look, the MCU has had, it's like 80% really good with its timeline, you know, because you'll have a bunch of movies really agree on something, and then every once in a while you get like a Spider-Man Homecoming which like gets something drastically wrong in its timeline and suddenly none of it makes sense, you know. So she says it's been 8 years. I don't know, I'll have to do the math because I'll be like, are they still in 2024 or are they in 2025 now? Because the MCU, remember, is a couple years ahead of us in real time. Anyways, just interesting to think about. Okay, so, and then once again we get shots of Olympus. Looks like just all the gods kind of show up here. And again, like, you know, they're talking, you know, they're making it seem like they're talking about Jane here, right? But he's wearing his Guardians of the Galaxy Ravager suit on. So like, and by the way, because again, editing in these trailers, so the conversation they're having, right, which, you know, let's play it again real quick here.
Same feelings?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so editing, so right, so they're making it sound like she says, oh, am I sensing you having some feelings? And they're like, huh, yeah, right. But obviously he's wearing completely different you know, they're in a different location. Yeah, different location. He's wearing completely different clothes. So
Yeah, right.
those two conversations are not happening at the same time. There's a lot of like little trickery happening here. Anyways, let's go ahead and play this some more. So this seems to be his fortress, or just, you know, I don't know. He's on a beach now. Okay, so this is clearly seems to be where the tentacle type creatures are coming from, right? Obviously, giant tentacle looking place. Very interesting. And what I do really love is that it looks like when you're watching the movie, literally all the saturation in the color will just go away in whatever this place is. You know, because this movie's very colorful, and then wherever he was, saturation just gone. Except for this shot. So yeah, I think this, you know, once again, maybe some editing trickery, because Gore does not look nearly as, he doesn't look nearly as scarred or messed up in this scene as he does in all the other scenes, and obviously now there's color around him. I also will say this is the one image where like he literally does, it just looks like Christian Bale, you know what I mean? Which I know a lot of people are saying, hey, maybe that was the point, you know, don't put a bunch of prosthetics on him or CGI, you know, actually let him be able to act, right? Which, you know, I guess, right? I mean, there's been tons of great performances with CGI, so I don't know how much that argument actually holds up, but in any case, I'm fine with the way he looks. You know, a lot of people out there are like really upset that they didn't follow the way he looks in the comics. I don't know. I honestly don't think it's a big deal. I mean, the MCU's been doing this long enough that you'd think people would get used to it by now, you know? Like, back in the day, I didn't like the Mandarin change, you know, but whatever. You know, like, you just get over these things. I figured people would get used to it by now. Anyways, so, yeah, I'm curious what his deal is, because I know in the comics they have, like, a lot of... It eventually comes out that his sword is somehow related to Venom type things. Okay, so let's see what we're looking at here. So a bunch of like Spartan looking people. They got like those Spartan shields. Now they either their faces are just painted gold, or these are like golden statue people. Kind of hard to really tell. And of course this move that she does here is really cool. So it looks like this Mountaineer can actually just be split. It can be split and then come back together, which I guess if you think about the logic of Mountaineer, right? Like it can, you know, you can like recall Mountaineer to you. So I guess if you can throw a bunch of pieces of it in different directions, then you could call all of those pieces back. You know, I guess it's sort of like the logic of it kind of tracks, you know what I mean? I'm sure there was some other kind of like magic, you know, stuff happening to it that like lets it reforge itself like that. But yeah, so here, look at this. Like, this is like horror movie stuff. Like he doesn't see how much more scarred up he looks here, and he doesn't look nearly as much like just Christian Bale with my white makeup on, you know? Like, he looks like, okay, he's a monster now. Okay, so he's stabbing the sword into the ground, and something happens. Yeah, like I'm so curious as to like what the story is here, you know, because the sword just looks like a sword. So I'm wondering if like they just completely, and yeah, like again, it looks like he's fighting Gore in whatever world that he's in. So you can see like while Thor's cape and his lightning still have color to it, the whole background and a lot of the other things are like muted colors now. I just really like this. I wonder if that's like just the effect that they have, because see, like the whole background is just black and white. I wonder if that's just like an effect that they're doing, or is it like a literal like, oh, this world doesn't have color, like it just absorbs all the color out or something, you know. And interesting, Valkyrie is using one of Zeus's bolts here. So yeah, that, you know, some people were kind of worried, like, oh, I don't want his bolts to actually look like that. It's like, yeah, okay, his lightning bolts really are this metal gold weapon here that's like shaped like a bolt. Pretty interesting. So I have to imagine that Zeus does not make it out of this. Okay. Russell Crowe's Zeus. And Valkyrie ends up taking one of his bolts to use as a weapon, very interesting stuff. So, and then of course here we get all right, let's rewind a little bit. So more of him looking really creepy. Now we have Thor fighting the exact same Spartan shield wearing gold people, and again, a little unclear. Are these people that are just painted gold? Are these like gold statue robots? A great image of Gore there. Again, I love what they've chosen to do here, and you can see how much more scarred up and like crazy he looks here than he did before. Because in that other image, it literally just looked like a picture of Christian Bale that someone photoshopped gray. But this looks like a monster now. His teeth are all pointy. He's got like this black gray drool coming out like it's blood or something. I don't know. Some Guardians imagery. I'm assuming that's Jane and Thor. Yeah, he looks real creepy. I like it. Okay, that's Jane. And again, we get this image here. Ooh, lots of interesting stuff here. Okay, so on the right, yes, that is 100% the Living Tribunal. Yes, so now we get a much better image of that. And on the left, guys, actually, if you look over to the left of the screen, that is Death from the comics. That is like in the comics, Thanos did his whole thing because he was trying to court Death. And yeah, it was like a skull lady in a hood, and that's Death right there. The other people in the background, I can't quite recognize who the person on the right behind the Living Tribunal here, this person here, you see my mouse, that person might be a Watcher, maybe. It could be a Watcher right there, kind of hard to tell. Yeah, that's about all I can see there, but that's cool. We see Death right there. That's definitely supposed to be who that is. That's really neat. I wonder where they're at. Is that just in Gore's like temple or whatever? Of course we see Zeus here. He just like flicks away the clothing, which is ridiculous. Now, really weird is that like, I guess we have to assume that they were not invited then. I guess we have to assume that they were actually trying to infiltrate Olympus for some reason, and they get caught, or at the very least Thor gets caught. Because they're just hanging out, but they got the hoods on, so maybe they're like, oh, the hoods hide us, like the kind of joke from Ragnarok. Then again, she has Mjolnir just out in the open, so I have to imagine one of them would say something about that. Let's see, so this is also probably the beginning again. Yeah, the beginning. He's in this Guardians outfit. So Thor has like 4 different outfits going on in this whole movie, and it's kind of interesting to see where they clearly edited some of the trailer together, trying to make scenes out of things that were clearly not actual scenes in the movie. Pretty interesting. But yeah, I will say I like the way Gore looks. I love the decision to be like, whatever this realm is that he's in, it's like all color around him just like disappears, except for like the lightning powers that they bring in. So that's really cool. I know, some people wanted Gore to have the black hood and noseless and have like the tentacles and all that stuff, and I mean, okay, that's fine. I guess my thing is that like, as long as he looks intimidating, as long as he looks scary, and he and he's still like a menacing, imposing figure, and he's still like fulfilling that role, then I don't think it matters nearly as much what he looks like. You know what I mean? I think that's where it's like, as long as you embody the character and the idea, it doesn't really matter if you have tentacles or not, and hey, maybe it was Christian Bale's decision, or you never know. You never know with these things. It could be any number of things, like where along the line it was made, like, all right, we're gonna change the design. In any case, I actually do like the way it looks. I'm very curious as to what they're gonna make his story here, because I know in the comics in the comics, he's supposed to be the guy that like cuts off the head of the Celestials and all this other stuff. But you know, in the MCU, they, you know, they're inspired by the comic lore, but they're not like beholden to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, you know, the lore that we get behind him is very, very different, you know. But just like his looks, like as long as he's embodying the character, I think it's okay to change things. Like look at this image, like this is like out of a horror movie. That's terrifying. like you know, imagine you see that at the end of a back alley. You're like, oh god. the teeth and the eyes, that's yeah, I'm so curious as to like what his deal is in the MCU, because I know in the comics he's got a pretty interesting, you know, like he's got this grudge against the gods and all that. So we'll see what they do. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you're most excited for. Let me know your theories, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.